Hey everyone, it's me Jay, and I'm on my bedroom floor today with my weird setup. And I really just wanted to talk about something that I've been thinking about a lot lately and has been really just on my mind. It's something that I've experienced for a large part of my life, and something that's hindered me a lot throughout my adolescence and throughout growing up, and something I really want to touch upon because it just feels so unbearable right now, and it feels, I don't know, very suffocating, and it's very hard, and it's an emotional process that I'm still kind of dealing with, and it's weird to say out loud, and it's weird to talk about, and I don't know, sometimes it gets bad, sometimes it gets better, but it's never fully gone away. And that is battling an eating disorder. And I was so skeptical about making this video because there isn't a happy ending. There isn't some good story at the end of this. It's just me fighting this, and it's just me getting through this. And I don't want this to come off as like depressing or like negative, because I'm okay and I'm getting through this, but it is something that's been on my mind a lot, probably mostly in this past month. And so to kind of get into this, I want to kind of explain my entire background and where I come from, and kind of how this all came to be, and where my mind has been throughout my life. I'd say that for my entire life, since I was really young, I was really overweight. In elementary school, I was extremely big. A lot of family and a lot of friends and a lot of classmates had to make me aware of how overweight I was. They had to make me known. And I don't know, I was bullied a lot. And I experienced a lot of just stress that eventually just kept building and building up. And whenever I got to middle school, I moved to Florida, and I just pushed myself to always be outside, to always be active, to lose weight, and I grew because I was going through puberty, and I lost a lot of weight. And at this time, I was identifying as male, so I was trying to get into sports to lose all this weight, and I did I just was always outside, and I constantly just put myself outside in order to be healthier and to lose weight, and I did. And throughout middle school, that bullying lessened. Kids were still mean, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't a personal attack on my appearance, and I got through middle school pretty good. And when I got into high school, I think things really tumbled back to this state because I was gaining weight again, and my family and a lot of close people had to tell me, I guess, and they told me in a way that I like had to stop, and I looked at myself and I was like, oh my god, like I'm disgusting, and I became obsessed at that point. So throughout 10th and 11th grade, I just stopped eating, and I put myself through hell. I began running and running and running. I remember coming home from school, and I put my bags down, and then I just went outside and I ran. And I would do that. Anytime I was hungry, I'd run, and I got so obsessive. I got so crazy with it. I remember losing like 10 pounds in a week before, and how crazy it was. And I remember going on a scale after a run and seeing that the results weren't what I wanted them to be. So I just keep running in that, like, in the same spot up until like I lose that much more weight. And it was ridiculous, and it was very unhealthy. And looking back, I'm just so disappointed with how I treated myself, because it was really bad. I changed my eating habits. I would get my food, and I would split like half of what I normally would eat. I would just like not eat it. So if I ate it like a hamburger, I'd split it, and it was half a hamburger. And in order to like compensate, I would rip my food up in little pieces, and it was so sad, because you just see me there ripping my food up in pieces, and I still do it today. It's become this habit that I just haven't been able to let go of. But I rip my food up in little pieces, so I eat it slower, so I'm more full, and that way I can eat less but also be more full. And it just kind of spiraled during my high school. It was crazy. I mean, I remember at some points taking laxatives just to try to lose weight. And I did lose a lot of weight, and and it sucks because I remember going through that. You know, my family would make jokes saying, "Oh, you're anorexic, you lost all this weight," but it was never this negative thing that, like, no one ever looked at me differently because I lost so much weight so fast. No one ever told me anything. And looking back, I'm like, wow, like, I put myself through such harm and no one even noticed because I was making myself healthier. I was looking better, but in actuality, I was destroying myself. And so a lot of that bullying stopped. A lot of people stopped talking, or a lot of people stopped saying that I was fat, that I was overweight, and I was still conscious of what I ate. I was still very restrictive on what I ate, and I made sure that I never overate, or I would count my calories every day, and I just kind of made sure that I never ate too much, so I would never gain so much weight. And so I started taking hormones, and I was terrified. That was a big reason why I didn't want to start, was because a lot of people say they gain weight, and I didn't want to put myself in that position. But I started, and I was going through a lot of stress, and I lost like 20 pounds starting hormones. I lost because, the muscle turns into fat, and I just lost a lot of weight with it. But now it's reached this point where it's kind of plateaued, the amount of weight that I lost, and now I'm kind of fluctuating in weight, and lately I've been gaining a little bit more and more weight, and it's kind of put me in this really, really weird place. And I look for people to tell me that I'm getting bigger. I look for people to say that, just so I can push myself to stop eating. And I don't know, I've just become so compulsive. Like, I make myself, anytime I see food, I make myself eat so much before I get mad at myself for it. So I'll snack on different things throughout the day, never eating a full meal because I hate the feeling of feeling full, but I snack on things throughout the day, which leads me to gain more weight, but I don't get the feeling of feeling full. And it's just this cycle that I feel like I'm going crazy, and I don't know, it's really, really difficult to talk about. And I've been worried about talking about it for the longest time. And transitioning to female and this whole transitional process has been crazy because the societal standards for women are completely different. And now I feel like I have to be even thinner than how I used to treat myself. Like, if I was my 15-year-old self and I told myself how much I weighed now, I would be so proud, because that was what I weigh now basically is my goal weight of what I was when I was 15 years old. So it's crazy how terrible and how awful I treat myself, and how the stigma behind all of this is. And I don't know, I get so stressed because I do see therapists, and I've seen mental health providers, and anytime I've ever talked about an eating disorder with them, anytime I've ever talked about the way I felt with food, it was always put on the back burner, and it was always put on the side, because the issue they wanted to attack, or the issue they wanted to deal with first was my transition and being transgender. And my identity is important, and I made sure that was the thing that I talked to my therapist about. But I don't know, it's like when I go see a doctor, it feels like I have to sacrifice something that is putting me through a lot of stress, and I don't know, I feel like I've been pushing this to the side, and I feel like I've been going more and more crazy, and I don't know why. And when I talk about it, I realize how crazy I sound, but in the moment, I feel so stressed, and so, I don't know, I just feel so awful. And I just really want to talk about it because I know that maybe more people are going through it. Maybe it's I'm not alone in this, because it's really hard. And I don't know, because I feel like I'm going back into this where I was in high school, and I don't want to be back there. I just want to be healthy, but I want to be happy. I don't want this to be sad, but I don't know how else to say all this. I don't know. Fuck it. I think that's all I really have to say. I'm gonna end the video right here. I don't know.